First of all, let me just say this. It's perfectly fine if she's highly religious and she's looking to Jesus to help her overcome spiritual challenges. But what I try to explain to her is that Jesus ain't going to lift those weights. Today, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people struggle with. This may be you personally, or this may be someone you know. So the question is, why do you fail to get yourself in better shape, even though you have the desire to do so? What is it that is holding you back from actually following through on your aspirations? We're going to address that question. But first, let me just introduce myself. Of course, I am Mark Johnson, your fitness ambassador for Bounce Pep and the youngest son of Bill Johnson. And I want you to be sure to stick around until the end of this video, because I'm going to offer you a chance to participate in a totally free course. It's actually going to be one-on-one. So you're going to be speaking directly with me. And as part of that deal, you're also going to receive your choice of a free product from Bounce Pep. And no matter what you think about yourself, whatever you believe about yourself is going to be apparent in your behavior. I hope that made sense to you. It doesn't matter what you think about yourself. It's what you believe about yourself that will be apparent in your behavior. And what this gets to is the idea of paradigms. Now, paradigms are basically beliefs that you have that are running in the background of your mind. You may or may not be aware of paradigms. What makes paradigms so powerful is that many times people aren't totally aware of them, if at all. Okay, so paradigms are things that you believe that are driving your behavior that you're not even aware of many times. And this is what causes you to fall short of your aspirations many times. It's because even though you have this conscious thought of this conscious aspiration that you want to do this or you want to do that, you have this program that's playing in the background of your mind. And that's the thing that is really driving your behavior. And it's driving your behavior in a direction opposite of that you want to go. Okay, so we're going to address this issue today. I'm going to give you a framework to understand what is going on. And then I'm going to give you another framework to understand how you can break out of this problem that you have and start working out and moving towards your aspirations so that you don't feel stagnant and stuck in your life. So what's going on here? You always seem to revert to habits that keep you stuck and you just don't know how to stop it. Now, I know because I have been there, not regarding my fitness, but in other areas of my life. I have struggled with that. So if you struggled with that, I'm on the same page with you there. But what we're going to talk about specifically is your fitness and your struggle with that. Let's just say, for instance, you want to exercise more, but you're always finding a reason not to do it. That's one example. And, there are a lot of things that can distract you. Television, maybe it's raining outside or something, and you use that as an excuse not to go and work out. There's always some reason that you come up with for not actually following through and working out. Another typical thing that people struggle with is they want to cut down their calories. They want to basically eat less, but for some reason, they just can't help themselves and they clean off their plate, no matter how much food it is, every time they eat. They just can't seem to eat less for some reason. Okay, so this is another thing that people struggle with. These are some typical things related to fitness that a lot of people struggle with, and you may have had those struggles. I want to relate this to you, give you a different type of example. You've seen insects, for instance, moths and other beetles and things like that at nighttime, they'll congregate around artificial light sources, like a light post outside or something, or maybe some light on the outside of your house. And what's going on there is that what they really want to do is they're trying to use the light of the moon to navigate to their true destination, where it is they actually want to go. But what happens is they get distracted by this artificial light and they can't distinguish it from moonlight. And the thing about moonlight is the moon, for all intents and purposes, is, as far as they're concerned, it's in one place and the light is coming to them from one direction. So they can use that as a guidepost or as a beacon, so to speak, to basically navigate where it is they want to go. But with an artificial light, the light is coming from if you think of a light bulb, it's coming from basically all different directions. So what happens is they get attracted to this light. They can't control it because they have the stimulus is the light itself. And so they find themselves unwittingly flying into this artificial light source. And because it's coming from all different directions, no matter how much they want to escape, they can't, because they're confused. And so they keep flying around and flying around and flying around. Now, let me give you a way to think about what a belief is and why it can indeed be changed. So you can think of a belief basically as a lens, and just the same way as you have lenses in your eyeglasses, or you have contact lenses, or you have a magnifying glass or a microscope, whatever it is, when you look through that lens, it colors, or it basically affects what you see and what you perceive happening. Okay. So you can switch out a lens, much the same way as you can change a contact lens. You can change your eyeglasses with a new prescription, and the lens changes and your vision therefore changes a little bit. And that's all we're doing. So the framework is not that difficult to understand, but I'm going to put it up on the screen so that you can kind of see it and then follow with me. The first thing that you're going to start off with is the paradigm itself, and that is the actual belief. Now, again, a lot of times this is working in the background subconsciously. So you're not really aware that this is going on, but it is going on. So you start off with a belief. After the belief comes some kind of a trigger. There's something in the environment that triggers you. And this trigger is kind of a familiar stimulus. It's something that you kind of been there, done that. It's something that you're accustomed to, but it's a trigger that okay? And then once you pick up on this trigger, interesting things start to happen. You have pattern recognition. Okay, so either consciously or subconsciously, you recognize that this is a trigger that you have seen before. Okay, from there, you have kind of a reflexive reaction, and that reflexive reaction can be either physical or mental. Okay, and then after that, what you have is this sense of disappointment because you have reacted reflexively to the stimulus that you're familiar to, but you recognize after the fact that it does not help you achieve your goals. So let's take that framework and let's work through an actual example that a lot of people struggle with. And this may very well be you, because this is very common. A lot of people grow up in households where the parents tell the children that they need to eat everything on their plate, no matter how much food is on there. So if they have a mountain of food on their plate, the parents are telling these kids that it is right and good to finish everything, and it's a bad habit to leave anything. Okay, so as an adult, you have this new desire to get yourself in better shape, and one of the components of that you realize is going to be reducing your portion sizes. Okay, so you've got the aspiration, you know what you need to do, or you know one of the things that you need to do to achieve that aspiration, but you find yourself kind of in these situations that challenge your resolve. Let's take a simple example. You're at a restaurant. A lot of restaurants, as you know, serve huge portions. I mean, actually just really way too many calories for one sitting, but it's a common thing. So anyway, you're at a restaurant. Now, remember, you have been told from childhood that you're supposed to eat everything that you see. The plate comes out to you. It's a huge portion. That's the familiar trigger, that huge plate of food. You see it, and then you have a reflexive reaction, and you just can't help yourself. You just eat and eat and eat until that plate is clean. When you're finished, then you say, oh, doggone it, I knew I shouldn't have done that, and you have this sense of disappointment. And of course, it's because you realize that you just did the very thing that you were promising yourself you were going to stop doing. What you may not understand is that what you believe is that food is scarce. That's what's driving that behavior. Your parents have maybe unwittingly planted this idea in your mind that food ultimately is scarce and you never know where the next meal is going to come from. So you better eat everything that you see while you see it. Okay? That is the belief that's operating subconsciously. You don't even realize it. And that is what is keeping you trapped in those same eating habits that are in direct opposition to your desire, your aspiration, your goal to get in better shape, to build some muscle, be fit, to stop just loading yourself up with calories and fat and everything else. Let me give you a couple more stories that may help you relate to the problem that we're discussing here. So I know someone who comes from a fairly large family, a lot of brothers and sisters, and he is the oldest brother, and he has expressed the desire to be the elder statesman of his family. And that's all fine and well. The problem is that he is erratic and unreliable. And, you have to ask the question, what's going on here? He has this stated desire, self-professed, to be the elder statesman of his family, but nobody views him that way. So my observation is that he believes that he doesn't belong anywhere. And the reason I come to this conclusion is because I'm simply looking at his behavior. He's erratic, as I say, and unreliable, and he disappears. And you don't know where he's at. He just disappears. And so he never sticks around anywhere long enough to nurture close relationships with people, even his own siblings. So no matter how much he wants to be seen as the elder statesman of his family, it's not going to happen because his belief that he doesn't belong anywhere is driving behavior inconsistent with what he says he wants. Another example, I know a woman who wants to slim down a lot and get in better shape, just basically get much more physically fit than she is now. She has ballooned in size over the years and done nothing about it. And now she has a stated desire to get herself in shape. And that includes slimming down a whole lot. The problem is she has this belief that Jesus will help her overcome all of her challenges. And first of all, let me just say this. It's perfectly fine if she's highly religious and she's looking to Jesus to help her overcome spiritual challenges. But what I try to explain to her is that Jesus ain't gonna lift those weights. Like, I tell her, you have to do that. And she just can't get over the discomfort of it. And what I believe is it's because she's always had this idea, I mean, for many, many, many years now, that Jesus is going to help her overcome everything difficult. And she's struggling with this because when she has to rely on her own fortitude to get something done, she's not willing to struggle through and overcome the discomfort through her own efforts, and it's hindering her. With all that said, my goal today is to get you to believe in yourself and stop believing in the ideas that keep you stuck. There are basically three options that you have. You can change your environment so that you are no longer exposed to the trigger, whatever that trigger is of your counterproductive behavior. Or you can remove the trigger from your environment. That would be the second option. However, the issue with those two options is that you never actually change the belief, if that makes any sense. So if ever you are in an environment with that trigger and your belief has not changed, you're still going to have that reflexive reaction. So your third option, taking account, is your best option. And all that means is that you're going to ask yourself, or you're going to ask someone else, why you behave the way that you do. Okay, so what you're trying to do is become aware of what you believe by asking yourself or asking someone else what they think about why you behave the way that you do. That is what taking account means. So what you're doing is you're stepping outside of yourself and you are looking at what you are doing with a critical eye. You're asking, why am I doing this? Do you realize so many people don't do this? And this is why they stay stuck, behaving in ways that don't help them achieve their goals. So now that we've gone over the framework for the problem that you have, let's go over the framework for the solution. You're going to start with accounting. From there, you're going to have a new belief. From there, you're going to experience the trigger. After you experience the trigger, then you're going to ascertain. Then you take action. Not a reflex, you take action. Okay? After the action, then you have evaluation. There are a couple of reasons why this framework works for you. The first one is that you are reinterpreting the significance of the trigger that drives your undesirable behavior, which produces then different actions. So that reinterpretation of the trigger is going to lead to different actions instead of those reflexive actions that have been keeping you stuck. The second reason is because the growth and the improved outcomes that you realize from reinterpreting the trigger and taking different actions is going to reinforce your conviction that you're doing the right thing. Okay? It's going to reinforce your conviction that your new belief is sound. It is effective. It's working for you. Let's take a concrete example here of how this new framework can be put into action. We're going to go back to the example that I gave to you, the story that I gave to you about the woman, the highly religious woman who believes that she needs Jesus to overcome all challenges in her life, even things that she should be able to do without calling on Jesus. So the first thing is she has to take an accounting. So She comes to someone, asks them, why am I having this problem that I'm having? Why am I behaving this way? Or she asks herself this question so that she's raising her awareness of her behavior and what's driving it. She's making some attempt. Next, she has to come up with a new belief. Now, in this case, what I tell the woman is that she needs to start believing that there are certain things, certain challenges that she must overcome through her own effort. A higher power can't help you with everything. There are some things that you just have to get done. Some challenges you have to overcome through your own effort. What's going to happen is once she establishes this new belief and she's repeating this to herself every day, like there are things that I need to be able to overcome without Jesus Christ. There are some things I need Jesus for. There are some things I've got to be able to do without Jesus Christ helping me. Okay. So then when she's confronted with the trigger, which is it's Saturday, 2:00. Around this time, she knows she's supposed to get up and go to the gym. The trigger itself is familiar, but she's going to next ascertain. And ascertaining simply means reinterpreting the meaning or the significance of that trigger. That's all you're doing. So now instead of saying, holy cow, it is 2:00. I'm supposed to get up and go work out. I know it's going to be so hard and I can't do it. Now she is saying, wait a minute, this is my opportunity. I know that I can get through this workout. I know that I can go in there and lift these weights and I can get through it if I just try. Maybe I can't do 10 reps. Maybe I can just do 1 rep of a heavy weight, but I'm going to start there. Okay. So now she's reinterpreting the trigger, which is the clock on the wall, 2 p.m. telling her she has to go and work out. And she's looking at it not as some kind of a punishment, but she's looking at it as an opportunity to test out and affirm her new belief. From there, instead of taking the reflexive reaction of finding some excuse just not to go, now she's taking thoughtful action to get up, put her belongings in her gym bag, get up, go out to the gym. She takes the action of actually lifting up that heavy weight. If she does 1 rep and that's all she can do, that's great, because as long as she sticks with it over weeks and months and keeps going, she's going to begin doing more than 1 rep. She's going to increase her reps. And that is going to affirm to her that the work that she's putting in is paying off and that she can do some things without the help of Jesus Christ. And once she does that, there's this evaluation. And the evaluation is simply that, I'm doing it. I told myself I could do it. I started to believe that I could do it. And now I'm doing it and it's working. So if it's working, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep doing it. Keep getting better. Keep putting in the reps. Okay. Now, if she does that long enough, what's going to happen is she's going to revert to a normal framework, which is she's going to receive the trigger, which is the clock ringing 2:00, 2 p.m. And her reflexive reaction will be to get up and go work out. Just reflexively. There's not going to be any resistance. And then she's going to just maintain that habit. Okay. And that's what you want to happen. You want to replace the old belief that's not working with the new belief that does. And then you want to implement the actions that will affirm the belief is effective long enough for it to become a new habit. So that now when you're triggered, you have a reflexive reaction that takes you closer to the goals that you've set for yourself. So if getting in shape is your goal, then you're going to move closer to that goal. And let's talk about the free offer. I'm going to be offering a totally free belief training to the first 5 people that email us at sales_cs@bouncepep.com. The first 5 people. Included with that free training will be a free product. So you're going to get to choose between one of 4 products in our product lineup. The options will be a free weightlifting belt, a free barbell shoulder pad, a free pair of weightlifting wrist straps, or a free set of booty bands. It's up to you. You just have to be one of the first 5 people to contact us. Now, the belief training, guess what? It's going to be one-on-one with me, Mark Johnson, your fitness ambassador from Bounce Pep and the youngest son of Bill Johnson. No middleman, you and me directly. So this is going to be the highest value for absolutely free. I mean, understand what I'm saying? You and me directly. Highest value for absolutely free. What we're going to do, if you are someone who struggles with getting yourself up and going to work out, even though you have the desire, you just always find an excuse or a reason not to do it. What we're going to do is we're going to delve into what are the beliefs that are driving that behavior. So this belief training is going to help you identify the beliefs that are driving your behavior so that you can then overcome it. So this is going to be a session of 30 to 40 minutes or so over a Zoom call. I don't want you to pass this up because this is not something I'm going to do like all the time. I'm not into doing a whole lot of free trainings, just being honest with you. But I'm going to do this for you. So hurry up, send your email. In the subject line of the email, just put belief training, and I will know that you are basically applying for the free belief training and the free product.